Boys, we got a big ass box. Today we're gonna open this box. We're gonna look at the stuff inside it. We're gonna look at it on the car, and then we're gonna drink a beer. It's not gonna be a real high-tech day today. That's what happens when I accidentally take off my hat instead of my sunglasses. Before I go get that big ass box, I want to remind you guys that B is for Build's first app dropped today. So it's in the App Store right now. It's called D is for Drift. It is a very fun driving video game available now for Android and iOS, and it is completely free to get. So guys, go check it out. I'll put a link just at the very top of the description right now. It's a really fun game. It was made by myself and 3 other people. It's definitely like a grassroots indie game. It's not some like big corporate thing or anything like that. It's just something we did for fun. And I think you guys are really gonna like it. So if you wanna help out and support the channel, go download the game. If you wanna help out and support even more, either pay to disable ads or in-app purchases to get the extra Bs for Build cars and drift those around. Those, the proceeds of that go to supporting the channel and the app developers that made the app with me and making version 2. Which I'm really excited to see what you guys are gonna think. I'm gonna be really watching the numbers tomorrow. I can't wait to see how far we go up in the App Store and how we do. It's been a while since I've launched an app, and I've never launched an app with a platform like this. So I've always wanted to make an app that was relatable to you guys as an audience. Here we go. D is for Drift. Go play it. Let me know what you think. I'll post some on Instagram. I'd love to see you guys' comments, feedback on the app, and what you think about it. On the game. I gotta stop calling it an app. I'm used to making like more utilities. All right, box time. The box is too big. It won't fit in here with the ceiling, so we'll have to open it up out there. We are unboxed. So what this is, if anybody doesn't know, is this is a Rocket Bunny kit for the S30 chassis, meaning the 240Z and a bunch of other cars. This kit applies to. So it's the front over fenders, rear over fenders, trunk lip, front bumper, like a fake front bumper is what that looks like. I'm not 100% sure. And then the front bumper cover, or front valance, whatever you want to call it. $4,100 for this kit, so it's very overpriced compared to the prices of other wide body kits, but especially for how many pieces it is. But that's the price for a Rocket Bunny. Also, you get to wait about 4 months. I think I ordered this kit before I even bought the first 240, so that was a very, very long time ago. And this one, like I said, was delayed several months, but it's here now. So overall, the construction, I mean, you don't know until you fit it up against the car. The rear trunk spoiler definitely has a lot of blemishes and weird spots. Like we got a bunch of extra clear right here, and then a bunch of blemishes there, and then under here there's just some like really weird stuff, like just a big pit with a hole in it for no reason, and this whole front line is just an absolute mess. So that's gonna need some work. The over fenders look pretty good. They look nice and smooth. They don't really have too much like waviness to them, or any waviness to them, which gives it a really good finished look. And I have seen waves in replica kits before as well, but I haven't really been able to dig into it and show you the exact quality because I don't know yet. So let's take these. The big thing I want to see is the over fenders against the wheels. We can see that it's got a nice thickness here, and it looks like it's going to help us out. But let's bring these over to the car and start to size some stuff up. Oh, we're going to need a fender on the car, huh? All right, test fitting. If we're gonna test fit this body kit, and we're gonna need a front end to test fit it again, so we can figure out the amount of poke we have on our wheel, and you know how we want to change that stuff and different things like that. So we got fender 1, fender 2 back there, hood right there. We've done this before, but it was quite sketchy, and we had a lot less stuff here. I don't even think we had an engine in here. We definitely didn't have strut towers. So now we got to do it again. I'm really I wish I could just weld some stuff off of the strut towers so we could really mount these things up there, but that's probably a 2-person job. We got to get this exactly correct. So for now, it's going to be really weird looking. I'll probably use that stool and maybe a broomstick, maybe a couple rubber bands, who knows, ropes from the ceiling, you know, the B is for Build way. And we're going to temp fit all the standard 240Z body panels onto the front before we go for the body kit. I got everything test fit on here. I mean, it's really, everything's just kind of laying on here. There's one bolt in each fender. Everything else is just laying there. So it's very fragile right now. But Eric and I did make one small mistake. This was something that I was thinking we might have to do later to fix it, but it happened in the wrong place, basically. So we were measuring for the strut tower, making sure that we had clearance. Obviously, we got clearance. There's like, 4 inches down to the strut tower. I know it's really hard to see. But when you come forward, that bar that runs down and into the frame rail over here is actually connecting with the fender right here, and that's what's holding it up. But luckily, I mean, I thought about this beforehand. These things have this shelf, this massive shelf, and we can trim that off. So you can see how they do it from factory on both sides for their own strut towers. So we'll trim this off or bend it, probably just trim it, and then put some nice molding on there so it doesn't like scratch against that metal, and then that piece will go flush onto that bar, and that's where it will live. So that's why it's a tiny bit shifted up right now, and we will a tiny bit shift it back down when we're done. So I kind of pulled it all apart to show you guys that. So I'm going to push it all back together, and then let's go ahead and start on the rear, and let's put the rear over fender on. Well, we're going to test fit it. Obviously, we're not going to install it. We've got our first piece on here and it's just not working well. So I'm following the door trim line over here. We have an obvious line that we have to stick to, which is this. And I'm like being conservative. I'm actually trying to kind of slide it over here, trying to get it centered on the wheel arch because it's an arch and it should be centered. But this piece right here, if you look, if I were to put it down to where it can connect to the body, it's like touching the tire way, way prematurely. So something just looks wrong or fits wrong. So I'm gonna pull it off and start from scratch. Okay, after a lot of tape and a little bit of compromise, I've got this thing pretty much on here. Now, it's not on there like I would install it, because to install it, you gotta add some pretty serious pressure. I'm gonna start on this side, come over here, riv nut that whole side up. I keep saying riv nut, just rivet that side up, and then that will get kind of pushed out towards the back of the body, lifting that corner up and then riveting that side down too. So the fiberglass will be under a little bit of stress. It's not super uncommon with body kits like this, unless I can trim something or do something else. And then the compromise comes from right here, where this one is supposed to go into the door. There's one here and one here. Those three were supposed to go into the door, and we're only gonna have two that go into the door, and this will just be like a fake one. That'll be a fake out one, because if you slide all this, those 2 inches over, I mean, you could see where that's at right now. It's still, it just misaligns the wheel arch by a lot, and it makes it really, really freaking high to the point where we wouldn't even be able to get our wheel very close to it, which would look like total crap. So I think that this is a pretty good compromise. But for now, just for a test fit, it's good, and we'll work with it on installation day. We'll work with it a lot more thoroughly, and figure out where it's going to land. So first piece, not a walk in the park, but it's on there. So let's move over to this front fender and try that one out. Well, the front end is a lot easier to test fit since we can't actually really test fit it. Obviously, it has this cut in right here where you got to trim the fender, and then you can snug this piece up. But I've done this enough times to know kind of how it's going to look. This front wheel and tire combo is just too big, right? We know that. I was trying to get the smallest wheel I could, which is what we have, but I need to get a smaller tire. So I'm going to have to order like just a radically smaller tire, and I think I want to do that on the front and the back. That'll help get the car a little bit lower. It'll help with a lot of like tucking and different size things. So smaller tires is definitely something that I want to do. And then like, you know, a little bit of a stretch, and that'll help make this not so bad, because this does kind of protrude out past the wide body kit in all places. It won't really affect anything, but it's not, you know, it's not exactly how it's supposed to be. which is, you know, it's kind of a bummer, but there's not much we can do about it. We might be able to do the 8-inch wheel. So that's a 9-inch wheel in the front. We might be able to do an 8-inch wheel, and that might move things around a little bit. So that's something that I'll talk to Koenig about. Maybe we'll try a 8-inch wide wheel instead. But overall, on the positive side, the amount of space that they leave in the front here does make that wheel, you know, seem a little bit less out of place. If you notice, when we just had the fender on, that wheel just seemed like crazy big. Now that we put this stuff on here, it kind of makes a nice home for it. When you have a hole that's that big from there to there, it really does make a good space for it. And also, benefit of that massive space right there is we're gonna have room to turn. We're gonna have enough room for a turning radius. So that's pretty good. That is the test fit of this kit. I mean, we learned some things. Next step is definitely tires. Oh, I also looked at some pictures of this thing, and I realized we are gonna need to move this over so that line lines up, because that line follows the door line. So if you have your door coming down and then you have this weird line on the side, it's gonna make it look really odd. So we do have to make it line up, which means we're gonna have to get really like forceful with this thing. I don't know, let's go grab the other side one and test fit it on the other side and see how that looks, if it's any different. So this side is being problematic just like the other side. So you can see that there's a big gap over here, and then as you work your way around, there's no gap at all. Now, if we press on this side really hard, it will push that out. It also pushes that out, but it'll push that out, but it's still, that doesn't stop the point that it's hooking in right there, and it's not the characteristic, it's not the look that you're really wanting like that. You want the arch to match the arch. Problem is that this line is right here, and it's like in line with the door. So if we move this over to match that arch, it's really not gonna work. So I don't know, we might need to it's definitely gonna be a 2-person job. We might need to heat it up a little bit or whatever, and really put a lot of pressure on that and try and stress that part up over there to get that curvature to match down there. Sometimes these kits need quite a bit of force to kind of work them into the right way, but we will make it work, trust me. We'll get it to work where the door line is correct, because I don't want it to look all goofy. Damn, that's awesome. I wish we could just like rivet it up and drive it like that to SEMA. Just put a seat and a drive line in it. No windows, no doors, no nothing. That is so cool. If you guys remember the game plan for today, it was test fit body kit, go get beer. Time to execute stage 2 of the plan. You guys know what day it is. It's trivia day. Somebody's asking me where the Aston Martin went. It's here. It's been street parked. It's a little dirty. It's not that bad. Taking it to trivia. All right, it's trivia time. We won last week. I don't think we're gonna do as good this week, but you never know. We just got done with rounds 1, 2, and 3. And I noticed that like all the teams around us all normally win a lot. And it's just me, Chelsea, and Adrian this time. So I'm just gonna drink a beer, kick back. I'll update you guys on the scores and we'll just see how we do.
Third place. Time for second.
Oh, what time now?
Dynamite goes. And D's you go.
Yeah.
Second place. Dynamite goes.
Solid second place. That was a good finish. We got second. This is the first time I think on film that we've ever made money. We got $15 for our genius, our knowledge. Chelsea, basically. All right, anyways, that's the end of this episode. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'm gonna head home and spin up a Squarespace website for the D is for Drift app. Go check it out. It's free on iOS and Android. And like I said earlier, if you want to help out and help out the channel, there are in-app purchases, and the proceeds of that, go towards the developers and B is for Build. So it's pretty awesome. Thanks, guys. I'll see you tomorrow. Peace. Come on.